Hello there, YouTubers. So I've recently started playing emulated games to more or less relive my younger days as a gamer. One of the first games I remember playing that was pretty addictive was Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance. It has a story mode with most of the Sonic characters having their own chapters, but I won't get too deep into it as I feel it's something you should experience for yourself. As you may have noticed by this bit of gameplay right here, it's not like your typical Sonic game where you run from point A to point B. No, it's a fighting game. The focus being to help the Gizoid, or Emerald as Sonic and Friends call it, grow stronger by having it watch Sonic and Friends fight each other. Interesting premise, although it's curious why it needs to learn how to fight in order to not be a weapon of war. Like minigames, you start off at your weakest, only getting more powerful as you play through the story. While you get to play as Sonic and Friends, depending on the chapter, you'll mostly be playing as Emerald, the robot that Sonic found. With every battle that Emerald is present, it learns abilities and movements of the other combatants present, which can be a bit of a gamble for the first few chapters. And let me tell you that I was more or less forced to replay the first 3 chapters in order to get some decent moves that I needed for later parts of the game, especially the final chapter, which is in my opinion the best chapter in the game. More on that later though. You're told that by doing certain moves, Emerald will copy that particular move, as you can see in this little tutorial where I'm doing heavy attacks and upper attacks. It does prove to be a bit misleading for the most part, as Emerald will just learn and copy random moves here and there. And it will only copy one move per character per fight. Take this battle for example. I've mostly been spamming bombs in this fight. You would think that by doing this a lot, Emerald will copy that move that I'm doing. But as you'll see at the end of this battle, it'll learn to do Sonic's upper attack again, instead of learning to use Sonic's bombs. To be fair, it can happen to where you'll be doing certain moves for the most part that Emerald can use for later, but most of the time it'll somehow learn moves that you haven't used at all. Like Emerald will learn how to use Tails' magic love attack, even if Tails never gets the chance to use it. I guess on the plus side, it can somehow learn special moves you haven't equipped at the start of every battle, and I know some special moves I will never use for some characters that Emerald will just learn eventually anyway, like Knuckles' Rock Throw. The special attacks and movements aren't the only reason I was forced to replay the first 3 chapters though. Depending on how well you play, you'll get a certain amount of skill points until you reach 500 in total. If you clear a fight without taking any damage, you'll get 5 skill points. And every Chaos Emerald given to Emerald in the first 7 chapters will increase the skill points by 10. In order to use certain moves, you must have enough skill points. Not too hard to beat most fights without getting hurt if you're using Sonic, Tails, and Rouge, but when it comes to characters like Knuckles and Cream, who are slow as hell, it can be pretty difficult to get 5 skill points after each fight. And unless Emerald managed to learn how to run as fast as Tails and jump as high as Sonic, getting 5 skill points can also be difficult when you're forced to play as Emerald in the first couple chapters. You are bound to get some good attacks here and there to use, but again, you need enough skill points to use the attacks Emerald learns. If you were to somehow play Sonic's chapter without getting hurt once, I'd say you could maybe earn 45 skill points in battle, that's mandatory, and a few optional battles here and there. At times, you'll randomly unlock certain color schemes to use for Emerald for cosmetic purposes, and that costs skill points too. I guess because you most likely gotta put the remaining 100 out of 500 points to some use. It's not hard to beat the first chapter or 2 without needing to replay them if luck is on your side and gives you movements you need. But when it comes to unlocking color schemes to use, it kind of defeats the purpose of fighting in certain chapters that could have given you something useful, like the recovery moves of either Knuckles or Gamma. Now, when it came to Knuckles, I was pretty lucky to get his healing move and Mole Bomb at the start of the chapter. I could have gotten some less useful abilities like his Run and Rock Throw, but I'm glad it worked out in my favor that I got his healing move. Although Knuckles, Cream, and Gamma are the slowest characters, Your healing ability is greatly overpowered. The blue bar that you see above the character's health bar, when full, can either one-hit kill your opponent, or instantly fill up your opponent's blue bar, depending on the special attack being used. Whenever special moves you don't use can be blocked automatically, since I never use Knuckles' Rock Throw, Gamma's Energy Shot won't hurt me or instantly kill me. Any blocked attack, as well as healing yourself, will fill up the blue meter. I would say make sure you know what attack your opponent will block before using your one-hit move. And yes, I spam certain moves a lot, hoping to get Emerald to learn what I'm doing, and other times because some moves I just find pretty funny. Looking at the moves that Emerald learns, it's possible to learn most moves from certain characters in any given chapter. Every move and attack has different speed and power levels, giving some sort of balance between characters. I already mentioned that Knuckles, Cream, and Gamma are slow when it comes to running, but are overpowered in healing. Rouge's healing is just about as bad as Emerald's default healing. Amy barely jumps higher than Emerald's default jump. And of course the color schemes are just for cosmetic purposes. There are just some abilities you wouldn't want Emerald to use, ever. But when it comes to the rest of the characters, you'll just have to deal with whatever faults they may have. And you're gonna have to before getting to Emerald's chapter. Before you play Emerald's chapter, you first have to play as Sonic, Tails, Rouge, Knuckles, Amy, Cream, and Shadow in this order. Throughout the story mode, you'll notice white circles on any given map screen. Normally, they'll be either the mandatory ones that progress through the story, some that are optional to boost Emerald's skill points, and then there are areas where you fight the fake Emeralds, also known as spies. Once you encounter them, you cannot leave until you beat them. At least when it comes to the mandatory spots, you have the option to leave to change up your Emerald stats, not when it comes to the spies. It just feels like a cruel punishment for not going where you're supposed to, and Knuckles' chapter and Cream's chapter are the worst in this regard. It's a minor annoyance if Emerald is with you, since you can still build up your skill points, as well as learn a good ability from any characters with you at that time. Otherwise, it's just a huge waste of time, and the chances are you're going to encounter them a lot during your first playthrough. Now, you can keep the Phi encounters to a minimum if you go where you're supposed to, but you wouldn't know that the first time. It's just a huge guessing game, and because Knuckles and Cream are slow, you don't want to fight the Phis, especially if they're as fast as Sonic or Shadow. Thankfully, when it comes to Emerald's chapter, you can pretty much fight whomever you want, even Chaos, although I'm not really sure what you do with his stats. But my point is, you don't have to fight the unescapable Phis in Emerald's chapter. You might be wondering, if I have a few problems with Sonic Battle, why do I find it so addicting? Well, aside from hearing some good Sonic tracks, even on GBA, it's good to build up Emerald in my way. Yeah, you have to go through some trial and error before coming here to end the story, but once you start Emerald's chapter, you can pretty much fight all you like until you're ready to end it. Not gonna say any more about it because it's a story you should experience for yourself. In Emerald's chapter, you can go to the Sonic Team building to enter codes that you probably looked up online to get one-hit kill moves, and go through some virtual battles made by Tails at his lab. The virtual battles are, in my opinion, the highlight of the game, as you can earn up to 3 moves in these battles, even after you die once. It might be kind of a pain to win 5 matches in a row before you start learning new moves, but to be honest, they didn't really bother me all that much, especially with those one-hit kill moves I unlocked with those codes. One minor issue I do have is that every 5 matches you do win, you get kicked back to the map. Like you win 5 matches, you get kicked out, then 10, then 15, and so on. I don't think it had to be that way since you get kicked out once you die once on any battle. Rare as the card suggests, but you do unlock color schemes here more often, as well as any special moves for Emeralds to use in future battles of the story. And that, my fellow YouTubers, was Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance. It does have its share of flaws, but I still enjoy playing it, As I said at the beginning of this video, it's one of the first addictive games I played and still play even today. Kind of a shame that there's no sequel planned for Sonic Battle, although I think this game could have been made into a decent remake. With some changes made for the better, I also think it could have had some characters added to the roster, even if they ended up being DLC. If I were to make some suggestions, I would add Blaze the Cat, Vector the Crocodile, SBL the Chameleon, Styx the Badger, and Metal Sonic. I mean, if they could include Gamma and Chaos, I see no reason not to include them to the main roster. One reason I could think why Team Chaotix was excluded was because it was most likely to see how they would be in Sonic Heroes. But if one character should have joined, I would have picked Vector the Crocodile. I know it's not one of the usual Sonic games where you run fast through every level like in the 2D or 3D games, but this is something I could get behind playing every once in a while, especially if they use the elements that make Sonic Battle so addicting. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, knowing that Sonic Team has made some really bad Sonic games in the last few years, such as Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, and Sonic Forces. But if they can make a game as good as Sonic Mania, there may be hope for this kind of Sonic game yet. Maybe next time we can even add online mode so players can fight each other with their own version of Emerald, and possibly trade skills with one another, like this game can do back in the day. One of my favorite touches I forgot to mention is that after you clear all the chapters of Sonic Battle and replay them again, you'll get to read journal entries from Gerald Robotnik. Kind of a nice explanation how Emerald came to be and how much of a terrifying weapon it becomes. It may have been touched upon a bit throughout the chapters, but Gerald pretty much spells it out clearly with every journal entry. Personally, I would have preferred if they were shown right after the first time playing, instead of waiting until all chapters were cleared, since Emerald is the one who goes through the character arc. But that's just me thinking. Not right now, but this is another game I could do a narration video on, although I don't think it'll be as long as some of my other narration videos. But yes, I will definitely do a narration video on Gerald Robotnik's journal entries eventually. That is just about all I have to say about Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance. If you haven't played this game already, I recommend playing this at least once, especially if you're a Sonic fan, or if nothing else, just to punch something in a Sonic game. Who knows, you might find playing Sonic Battle pretty addicting as I do despite its few flaws. Or not, I don't know. Anyway, until next time my fellow YouTubers, game on!